The Nintendo Switch, a console that saved Nintendo from their, at the time, miserable fate with the Wii U, as the Switch is Nintendo's biggest home console in terms of sales, with 150 million units, whereas the Wii U sold a measly 13.56 million. The console holds a dear place in many fans' hearts, as it was able to unite a whole fanbase to purchase not one, not two, but multiple Switch consoles in their homes. That's unheard with Sony and Microsoft's home consoles. As the end is near for Nintendo's first hybrid console, as we usher in a new era for the company with the launch of the Nintendo Switch 2 in just 24 hours away from us. Why don't we rewind the clock all the way back to 2017 to see how this hybrid console launch went, and the events leading up to the launch the years before, and see the entire history of the console from 2017 to now. This is the Nintendo Switch Rewind. Part 1. The calm before the storm. As a wise man once said, before the storm, there is a brief period of calm. Let's focus and talk about the calm. March 2015 to October 2016. I can gush about 2016 for decades about how good of a time it is to be a Nintendo fan. But let's get back on topic. Around March 2015, then Nintendo president Satoru Iwata, rest in peace Iwata, announced that the company was taking a next step as the next Nintendo console was in development, and it was codenamed NX. Speculation ran wild all the way throughout 2015, and people weren't caring about whatever Nintendo was putting on the Wii U, except for a certain ink splat game and Paper Mario during this time, as the whole year was just mainly just fans speculating about what this new console could be, and how Nintendo could save themselves from their, at the time, doom of losing the console wars for good. Sometimes, some people were, at the time, saying that Zelda U, they changed their name to Breath of the Wild in late 2015, was going to be an NX launch title, and everyone was just in the sea of hype that Nintendo would come back crazy hard in the gaming space, and would take away the champion's reign that was held by Sony and Microsoft, and leave them in the dust of old tech. Nintendo fans were screaming on Twitter for any news after March 2015, as they were dead silent about the NX, until all the way on a cozy morning on October 2016 at 6 a.m. they dropped a tweet. It wasn't any normal tweet. They announced that at 7 a.m. the NX preview trailer would drop on the same day. That 1 hour between 6 and 7 a.m. set off a bomb in the Nintendo community. All the speculations were put to the test, and everyone were losing it on Twitter. Some people quoted the greatest president of Nintendo, Reggie Fils-Aimé's famous dialogue on Twitter: "My body is ready." And then it was time. Nintendo's website stopped working for a brief time at 7 a.m. No live stream or video on Twitch or YouTube. Just one more tweet that was posted that contained the NX preview trailer. Part 1.5. Our bodies were not ready. Minutes after the trailer dropped, an eruption of mental roars and madness was showing up everywhere of the preview trailer reactions on social media. The final name of the console? Nintendo Switch. All the popular gaming clips between 2016 to 2017 were just reactions and any news of any Switch related videos. This is the greatest time to be a Nintendo fan, and the future of Nintendo was starting to become pretty clear, and how dominant they'll be later on. Part 2. The storm begins, and the day that Nintendo came back for the throne. As the Wii U was discontinued manufacturing in early Jan of 2017, and more Nintendo Directs were being shown, showing off the new hardware of the Switch, the console capabilities, and its games, fans were dying for the release date of the console and what the launch title would be. In the very last big Nintendo Direct before the Switch came out, near the end of Jan 2017, they announced the release date of the console: March 3rd, 2017. Everyone was wondering what would happen to Breath of the Wild on the Wii U. At the very end of the Direct, they had shown off Breath of the Wild, and its release date, March 3rd, 2017. someone's speculation was right. Fans were clamoring for the weeks leading to the Switch date, making fan art, playing their favorite Wii U games one last time before they leave the console behind and just put it away in storage. This was a time when Nintendo YouTubers were popping off hard during this time. I watched the Alex C&D and Plain Rock 124 during this time, and there were two big dogs of Nintendo news at the time I used to religiously watch as a small-age person. After weeks of mulling it out and waiting and predicting, that great fateful day came to us Nintendo fans. March 3rd, 2017. That day will go down in Nintendo history as the day that Nintendo came back for the throne. They sold 3.3 lakh consoles on day one in America alone, and people were enjoying playing Breath of the Wild on their shiny new console, along with people who were still with the Wii U crowd, as Nintendo was generous enough to give Breath of the Wild a full Wii U release on the same day as Nintendo's next console, the Nintendo Switch. The day that the DLC came out, it also came out on the Wii U on the same day. This is the greatest gaming comeback ever in gaming history. Part 3. The beginning, 2017. 2017 was a time where a huge majority of us Gen Z people had gained the ability to have proper memories. And I probably don't need to say much about the Switch in 2017, as the console only really got 3 other big games throughout the year. And aside from Breath of the Wild at launch, a sequel to Nintendo's highly successful entry in the new Wii U IP, and something else everyone loved to see on the Switch. What was the successor to the wildly successful entry in the Wii U IP? Ever heard of Inklings, mate? How could I forget this game? I never owned this game, but would play this game a lot when I was at a friend's place. Splatoon 2 was a madness of hype, crazy fun gameplay, and straight up filled with loud energy everywhere. The story of the second game was a massive improvement over the first game on Wii U. DJ Octavio is back with even harder levels to play, and a far better campaign than any Call of Duty Black Ops game. It gets even better when you go online and play 4v4 matches. It's a crazy shootout for keeping the most stuff on the field, and the salmon run is a popular mode as well. But I'm not getting into that, as the whole point of the Splatoon games themselves is to keep the 4v4 matches. Once in a while for online multiplayer 4v4s, Nintendo will be hosting massive in-game events called Splatfest. You had to pick between the two teams. This concept persisted over to Splatoon 2 and hosted even more crazy Splatfests. The franchise alone had a separate fan base that had grown outside of Nintendo. Even if you've shown a person who has never played a Nintendo game, Splatoon, the iconic girl or boy is like, without telling them what it is, they'll say it's from Splatoon and it's their favorite online Nintendo game of all time. Splatoon 2 launched in summer of 2017. Everyone was preoccupied playing this game for unhealthy amounts of time. Sure, it was probably not mentally good for you, but it was crazy how much content they jam-packed into one game. Unfortunately though, in 2019, the game received its last regular Splatfest from 18th to 21st July that same year, and this game was left in the dark after 2019. Moving on to October 2017. The stars aligned and everyone else might have been waiting for Halloween, but us Nintendo fans will be waiting for that fateful day on October 27th, 2017, when all the fans' prayers were answered and heard that day. What released that day, you might ask? Super Mario Odyssey! What more need be said? This was the 3D Mario game that everyone were dying for since Super Mario Sunshine, as 3D World wasn't really a 3D Mario game, and it had more linear level structure, whereas Odyssey had the Sunshine-style 3D open world. Mario's new companion, Cappy, was a genuine and genius companion, and everyone treated this like Mario's version of Breath of the Wild. I was excited for it and played it on my friend's Switch and didn't buy a Switch until 2018. I was excited as a little Yaahi and seeing the T-Rex in Cascade Falls and capturing it, and beating the main story about 3 times in one day in about 4 hours, which was crazy to say the least. And I'm playing it again in 2-player with my close buddies. Man, this game was the pinnacle for the main reason I bought a Switch in 2018 after agreeing to my dad to sell my Wii U for my Switch. I still deeply regret it, but the game itself was a showstopper in all aspects. The graphics, controls, story and post-game content and the music was still and still is a legendary soundtrack and goes up with the Galaxy games, Sunshine, 3D World, and all the Zelda travel packs. No one can tell me otherwise, especially the escape sequence music in Moon Kingdom. The game that cemented its legacy and is considered the best-selling Switch game of all time came out in April 2017. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, released on April 27th, 2017. It was a frenzy of fan cheers and the game was sold out everywhere, as this was the definitive way to play Mario Kart 8 in a portable way. I don't got much else to say here as it's Mario Kart. Obviously this probably would have done good. That's the big four from 2017. Aside from these games, it was mostly small indies as the eShop was super small at the time, as the console was only out for a couple months, but we would see a somewhat strange year for the Switch in 2018. Part 4, the Wii U Second Chance and Sakurai's Blessings, 2018, Year 2. 2018 was a strange year for not just the Switch, but Nintendo themselves, as this year was mainly used to port over and spruce up some of Nintendo's older first-party titles from the Wii U, and giving them a second chance on a console people actually bought and actually know what a Nintendo Switch is. DKC, aka Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, and Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition. Wii U fans were laughing at the prices of the ports, as the ports were priced at $60. They were full price games, mate, including Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. Like, come on, man, seriously? But all would drop and change on March 9th, 2018, when the official Smash Bros. Social media accounts dropped a reveal trailer for a new Super Smash Bros. Game for the Nintendo Switch, under the working title Super Smash Bros., which we know how the game ended up, which we all know what it would become. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate was set to drop sometime in 2018. This entire year after the announcement, just the entire of 2018, was just spent speculating on Smash Bros. And the Smash Bros. Hype. This was a big moment for fans, right? And you know, if any Nintendo fan sees the Smash logo, we all go rowdy mode, as this game was the pinnacle of the franchise. The DLC fighters that dropped just after the game came out were crazy rosters. Bro, we managed to get Steve from Minecraft into Super Smash Bros. Saxon on the tail, and Halo Master Chief. Dude, this game started a revolution in the Smash Bros. Community, as fans were the most feral during the Switch gen, and we were getting fighters that no one expected to get into a Nintendo fighting game. Let that sink in! The day that everyone went mental for, December 7th, 2018, Smash Ultimate's release date. It broke so many records and is in the top few best-selling Switch games. Part 5, the Year of Indies, 2019, Year 3. 2019, the Year of Indies. You may ask, Yaahi, why is 2019 the Year of the Indies? This was a year when Nintendo basically gave the games over to indies. We only had Super Mario Maker 2, which is the successor to the critically acclaimed Wii U game, Super Mario Maker. It was a game about creating your own 2D Mario levels and uploading them to the Nintendo Network for others to play. It and some 3DS games from the last Wii game, Just Dance 2020. We had a load of Wii U ports, such as New Super Mario Bros. U, which included all the content from New Super Mario Bros. U, plus New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. New Super Mario Bros. U plus New Super Luigi U, and some additional new content such as new characters, Nabbit, Toadette, and Peachette, and a new Switch game called Yoshi's Crafted World, developed by Good Feel. Good Feel. It's a cute, charming platformer with a diorama aesthetic and a whole lot of wool. We had a plethora of other Switch games such as Ring Fit Adventure, Luigi's Mansion 3, and for Halloween, a double game, and Pokemon Sword and Shield. Part 6, the Year of Lockdown, 2020, Year 4. 2020, the year when school decided to cancel going out of our homes to study, but to study at home. What do you think we did? Was it A, go and sit in online classes and study like good boys? Or B, study but not really understand anything? The answer is none of the above. We just sat at home and played the Switch. Most of the games were like this. Animal Crossing New Horizons is a live simulation game released worldwide on March 20th, 2020 for the Nintendo Switch. It is the 6th mainline AC game. The main change for this game is the theme of a deserted island getaway. Instead of moving into an existing town, the player helps develop their island from an uninhabited island to a modest town. You have a plethora of things to do in this game, such as building your dream home, making an island economy, and if you have a Nintendo Switch Online subscription, you can go online and access other people's islands and gain cool rewards for exploring them. You can be a fun snob or a rich person and have a huge island and so much more. The possibilities are limitless and the world is your oyster here. Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition is a remake of Xenoblade Chronicles, a Wii action RPG that started the Xenoblade series. The Definitive Edition was released worldwide for the Nintendo Switch on May 29, 2020. The character design of the game have been remade to look closer to the ones found in Xenoblade Chronicles 2! A new epilogue called Future Connected is also included in this version of the game. It is an epilogue including Shulk and Melia after the events of the game, taking place in a new area, Bionis Shoulder. Super Mario 3D All-Stars is a compilation game for the Nintendo Switch. It is a collection of the three major 3D platformers in the Mario series: Super Mario Sunshine, Super Mario 64, and Mario Galaxy, as well as their soundtracks. The game was released on September 18, 2020 as part of the Mario 35th anniversary event. This game holds a special place in fans' hearts, especially in mine, as these games define Nintendo's legacy from the early 2000s onwards. And the moment that I heard that Super Mario 3D also included Galaxy, I bought it day one right after school finished for the day. Alas, it was sold for a limited time and sales have stopped on March 31st, along with other games and content. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity is a game for the Nintendo Switch. It's a prequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild with the gameplay of Hyrule Warriors. It takes place during the period 100 years before Breath of the Wild, when Link and Princess Zelda are gathering allies, particularly the four champions, across Hyrule to stop Calamity Ganon, who intends to revive himself and destroy the Kingdom of Lock when combating his forces. 2021 started great, ended quite still. Year 5. The year in particular was when we got a Wii U port that people were asking for since the Switch's launch, which was Super Mario 3D World. This wasn't any regular 3D World port, as this was Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, a roaring, shiny new campaign that is an open world inside the 3D World's engine, and it rocks, dude! You can go Dragon Ball Z on Bowser using the Giga Bell, which turns Mario practically into Goku Super Saiyan, and it's like watching Godzilla vs. Kong when you're playing it, or watching Kaiju anime, or literally any equivalent. You get the point. When we got a reboot to a unique but interesting franchise, it's the Fartman's franchise. WarioWare Get It Together launched September 10, 2023, and is a short but interesting game that utilizes the Switch detachable Joy-Con controllers and the hardware inside the Joy-Cons to give it an experience like no other and shows its technical prowess. It can be finished in 30 minutes. Metroid Prime was released and shook the Metroidvania community, as we still haven't gotten Metroid Prime 4, but are getting a classic, good old-fashioned 2D Metroid game that has the same old controls that fans know and love from the older games. 2022, the start of the Twilight Era, Year 6. School finally reopened and students went back to school, which obviously gave them less time to play video games. And few notable games during this time were Kirby and the Forgotten Land is a 3D action platformer in the Kirby series, released worldwide for the Nintendo Switch on March 25th, 2022. It is the second game in the series after Kirby Star Allies in 2018 to be released for the Switch. It was first announced at a September 2021 Nintendo Direct, and was released as a part of the franchise's 30th anniversary celebration. It's the first mainline Kirby game with full 3D gameplay. Yeah, a big feat for the Kirby fans. It's getting an enhanced port with additional content for the Nintendo Switch 2 hardware called Kirby and the Forgotten Land plus Star Crossed World. Splatoon 3 is a third-person shooter for the Nintendo Switch, releasing on September 9, 2022. It's the third game in the Splatoon franchise and the sequel to Splatoon 2. It takes place in a deserted region called the Splatlands and the city of Splatsville, instead of the highly urban locales of the first two games. It's like Splatoon 3 Wild West or something, I don't know, man. But it's a massive campaign and great online multiplayer. Pokemon Legends Arceus is a game in the Pokemon series, released on January 28, 2022. The game is set in Sinnoh, many years before the events of Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, Pokemon Platinum, and the remix Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. The game is open world with the players capturing and battling different types of Pokemon in the game. The starters are Rowlet, Cyndaquil, and Oshawott, who were starters in the previous games, Sun and Moon, Gold, Silver, and Black and White respectively. The game was first announced in the Pokemon presentation. That's so stupid. Pokemon Presents Presentation, aka PPP, along with the Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are role-playing games for the Nintendo Switch, as the first installments of the 9 generations of Pokemon games. The games were first revealed in a Pokemon Presents presentation, aka PPP, on February 27, 2022. The Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is the 4th mainline entry in the Xenoblade Chronicles series, set to be released on the Nintendo Switch. The game is set to in the future of both Xenoblade Chronicles and Xenoblade Chronicles 2, using floor elements inherited from both games. It also visually continues the trend set by Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. Oh, and one last thing, Technoblade Our King died due to cancer in 2022. 2023, a blast of a year for the world! Year 7. We got peak cinema before GTA 6! The Super Mario Bros. Movie released on April 5th, and 6-year-old me was riding and losing his mind on the inside, whereas 13-year-old me was throwing his headset whenever he saw any Mario movie glimpses. Aside from that, we had gotten a sequel to 2017's launch title for the Switch 2, and the name? The Legend of Zelda. Tears of the Kingdom. This game got me addicted to playing on my Switch, mate. It's not normal. Every day I turn my Switch on before heading to school, playing Zelda TOTK before heading to the bus, quietly sneaking in my Switch into the school bag and my power bank into the bus, and just grinding it out. And yeah, I still haven't beaten the game yet. It takes a while to complete, but it's a crazy time. This was the last time we see Charles Martinet voicing Mario ever again before he became Mario Ambassador. The gaming legend retired, man. 2024. A tunnel of no new ideas. Year 8, oh boy. The year we all probably remember when GTA 6 was announced and the famous "Before GTA 6" meme started. We're here to talk about Nintendo. Some famous Nintendo games that were released during this time, including remasters, were The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom is a game for the Nintendo Switch and the first ever entry of The Legend of Zelda series to feature Princess Zelda as the main playable character, unless one counts 2 of the Philips CDI games. Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door is a 2024 Nintendo Switch turn-based RPG game. It is a remake of the original game of the same name, originally released on the Nintendo GameCube in 2004. The game appeared to be mostly the same mechanically, the major difference being that the art style has been altered to be more in line with paper aesthetic of Paper Mario Sticker Star, and the game that came afterwards. Super Mario Party Jamboree is a Mario Party game for the Nintendo Switch. It is the 3rd entry of the franchise on the platform after Mario Party Superstar on October 17, 2024. In 2025, the game receives an expansion for the Nintendo Switch 2. This updated version is called Super Mario Party Jamboree Nintendo Switch 2 Edition plus Jamboree TV. It updates the game to run better on the Nintendo Switch 2 hardware and incorporates the Nintendo Switch 2 camera and Joy-Con 2 mouse control support. Mario and Luigi Brothership is a role-playing game for the Nintendo Switch and is the first new entry for the Mario and Luigi RPG series in 9 years. 9 years? Damn, man, I'm old. It was released on November 7, 2024. 2025. One last time, boys! AKA the end. This is the year that the Switch 2 announced and released after 8 great years. This is sadly the last year. Unfortunately, there are not many releases as it is the last year of the Switch. At least the last full year of the Switch. These are Donkey Kong Country Returns HD, which is just a remaster of Donkey Kong Country Returns ported to Switch. They really should stop remastering this game, man. Whenever they run out of ideas, they do it. And the nail in the coffin, Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition is an action JRPG game and a remaster of the 2015 Wii U game Xenoblade Chronicles X. The game was released on March 20th, 2025 for the Switch. Aside from that, we just have Tomodachi Life 2026 and Rhythm Heaven Groove 2026. And now, tomorrow is it. June 5th, 2025. Thank you, Nintendo, for 8 years of memories. Thank you, Nintendo, for 8 years of games. Thank you, Nintendo, for the best 8 years of our lives. Thank you. Peace. Credits to Pi for the script and for working on 2020 and 2021, 2023 and 2022, and just the stuff from 2020 onwards he worked on. Very big shout outs to him. Without him, this video wouldn't have been made. Thank you. Peace, man.